Hello, everyone. It's Julian. Say hello, Justinian.
Hi there.
And today we wanted to talk about a topic that has been massively overlooked, and we're gonna connect it to like the general situation that keeps happening in the Western world when it comes to the interaction between the natives and immigrants and minorities. But without further ado, I'll let Justinian describe the situation of what happened in Germany, and then we can discuss it. Over to you, Justinian.
Yep, I'm just going to show you a little clip of what was recorded so you understand the issue. This is a Syrian family coming up to a 12-year-old. Sorry, not 12-year-old, 12-day-old. Happened on Easter Sunday.
In a playground, right? In a
Yeah, in the
playground. Like
playground.
you can't even be safe in playgrounds anymore.
As it says here, the father was actually detained by the authorities. The Syrian family
The
wasn't, I
cherry on
think.
top of this incident. Cherry on top.
Yeah, and he had to apologize. He literally had to write, "We have nothing against foreigners." This, of course, reminds us of some other incidents we would like to show you, like this one, where an outrage over a woman being non-consensually culturified by
Yes, yes,
some
yeah.
neurosurgeons.
Yeah. And
Uh,
don't forget engineers as well. That's a very
yes,
important
absolutely.
distinction.
Of course, we also have to make it very clear that we absolutely love Syrians. We love Syrian food. I love, a little bit of fried chicken using dynamite. I personally love that. That Syrian flair. I mean, Julian, remember we went to that Syrian restaurant? I mean, the cuisine was just was just so explosive with its spices. Remember?
It was like brimming with like such like a strong taste. Like I almost felt my whole body dematerialize at how
Yeah,
an amazing gastronomical experience it was.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that night I saw Lord Shiva on the toilet. Anyways, so here, a woman, rightfully so, was arrested because she called one of the people who were trying to culturify a girl, show her the beauty of African or Syrian culture, a pig. He isn't a pig. He is a hero. These people are heroes. No, I absolutely support the German government. I'm sure you, Julian, as well. I mean, they did
Like
the
yeah,
right
yeah,
thing.
she deserves to go to jail. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, calling a neuroengineer a pig. I mean, that's disgusting. I
see,
mean,
like they're
personally,
so
I
smart that they're actually inventing new degrees in neuroengineer. Have you ever heard of a neuroengineer? I
yeah,
haven't.
see, they're signing up over here, right here.
See,
Design
yeah,
engineer assault. See, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
This is literally the benefits of mass
yeah.
migration in Europe.
This is amazing. The fact that finally the German authorities are really taking care of what we really need to take care, which is people calling people who are trying to culturify others as pigs. This is unacceptable. There's actually another incident where one of these disgusting people called a politician a fat woman. You know, I mean, she
That
was a
is
bit.
unacceptable. Death sentence
Uh,
immediately.
I mean, I think Germany is way too liberal. It's a far right cesspool. I mean, they literally let hate criminals like this go.
To
In a in
insult
a
a
in a
queen like that, a queen, like unbelievable, unbelievable.
beautiful, absolutely perfect queen. Yeah. Germany is a fascist state. I mean, they let hate criminals like this go. A proper liberal democracy would execute them on spot. We have something else, the famous Carmelo Anthony issue, and of course the father's reaction to it.
Care of it. Karma, I believe in it. It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soap.
Yeah, good job, white boy. Put you back where you belong. This situation is I think the father did the right thing. I mean, look at this man. He did nothing wrong. I mean, he's innocent. I mean, yeah, he may have stabbed the kid, in the heart, but I did that once, some
Yeah,
fatal stab.
it's like
You know,
banter,
it's
but banter between the lads. Someone says
yeah,
something to you, you just stab them in the
and then
heart.
Yeah, me and Julian, we grew up in the streets in Illyria. It was a regular type of thing.
Of course,
Some
like
bloke.
we're battle hardened soldiers, like your uncle Justin, he was he worked for Anastasius the First. He stabbed a lot of people to get where he went. So we approve of this
Exactly.
behavior.
This guy should actually be rewarded. I mean, he's moving
Certified
up the
Roman
line.
behavior. He should be part of the
Yeah.
palace guard.
I absolutely agree. This guy's family, they bought a house using this situation. In my opinion, if that's not entrepreneurship, I don't know what is. This guy should get rewarded in his family. Okay, that is the correct allocation of funds to use for your capital. So Andrew Tate was talking about. Okay, the using of your situation to make capital, to make bank. I mean,
Fantastic stuff.
personally, I think you should kill another kid to get even more stuff.
Hustlers University type shit.
Yeah, Black respect from the hood, man. Good job killing that white boy.
Okay, so actually, we need to get serious now because
Yes.
this is I mean, at this point, Justinian, I think they're actively provoking their populations. Western government are actively provoking their populations. Um, it's like a bullies in like those stereotypical high school movies. Yeah, bro, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? We're getting to this point basically. It's you know what? It's basically victim blaming for all the kind of preaching they do against victim blaming and all of that stuff. They literally get victims and they get them to make public statements of repentance, as if this is the Soviet Union or the Inquisition. We have gone full circle. This is
Well, with all respect, the Inquisition, they didn't have actual evidence for your crimes. You had to go to a court and everything. The Soviet Union, you didn't.
yeah, fair enough. It's yeah, and like I try to keep myself as kind of impartial and realistic as I can be. Sometimes I think maybe all of this stuff is just conspiracy theories. Maybe things aren't that bad. But you open up the internet, and every day they prove you wrong. Western leaders prove you wrong every day. They actively prove you wrong. Just absolute insanity. Um, and unfortunately, this is real. This is reality. We're not living anymore in a nice, high trust, advanced society. Things are declining on a significant pace. So, from calling someone a pig and going to jail, to your own child being beaten up and having to come out and make public statements, to your son being murdered and you being called racist or whatever for going to to the perpetrator's family event. It's a very sad situation, and I do think that we need to wake up. We need, and by the way, this isn't just aimed at white people or the natives of Western nations. I think this is aimed at all groups. We need to wake up because even the minorities and the kind of protected groups, they're being psyoped, they're being used, and it is not healthy for the culture. It is not healthy. There is no way it is healthy. And you know what? This isn't about racism. This is about statistics. Thankfully, there are some, for example, black YouTubers that have started to talk about this a lot. But increasingly, it's black culture is becoming extremely toxic. And
I mean, I don't think when it was not toxic. I mean, it's not really much of a culture. It's artificially government made slop for them to consume to get them distracted. I mean, when is the last time a government sponsored a black church? I don't remember one. I don't remember Blair sponsoring black churches. I remember sponsoring those always. You know those horrible community centers they have
yeah,
where like people go take drugs. Yeah, that's what they usually sponsor. That's usually the place where you get stabbed, you do drugs, and you sell them. Those community centers. I freaking hate community centers. It's like the perfect place. It's like one of those communist social housing we have. It's like a perfect magnet for the worst type of people to gather.
yeah, and it's as you were basically saying, it's kind of they're trying to get minorities into universities and into jobs, which is good, but if the
No, it's not.
culture is not, of course, it's not good if you like inject them forcefully. But all I'm saying is, if the culture itself is not healed,
See,
then
this is
no
this is
amount of DI is gonna fix this.
this is sort of the paradox, right? As Theodore Kaczynski, a great philosopher, sort of wrote about this, is that
We do not
the
support his
par
ideas, by the way. We're just quoting him. Disclaimer.
well, I sympathize with his ideas. Now, Julian, he doesn't agree with them, but that doesn't matter. Anyways, as I was saying, he wrote about this specifically, how paradoxic the situation is. They basically take black people. They say that we love their culture, and they try and put them into CEO and manager jobs and keep sort of keep their black culture, which really boils down to them eating fried chicken, watermelon, swearing, doing terrible rhymes, and acting like hooligans, which isn't a culture; it's a form of degeneracy, to be
Man said
honest.
fried chicken and watermelon. Come on, man. There's like more to their culture. I think they eat like collard greens as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're part of your five a day. It's like the stuff. It's like the type of stuff the government gives you in a tray in a prison, like to make sure that you're fed, but you're not strong enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, that's the type of stuff they eat. And again, this is not like something like we're not trying to insult them or anything. It's not anything against them. It's really against a whole long process that's longer than 100 years. But the point we're trying to make is that all this stuff about pushing them up, it's not made in any way to help them. Because first of all, they don't need this. What they need is a proper job. Manual labor jobs are jobs. There's nothing wrong with them. That's for starters. Number two, the point of these organizations, when it comes to CEOs and managers, all this managerial class, and you Julian, know about this more. It's a different
Oh
topic for a
lord,
different video.
this is like a whole new video where we're gonna talk about the managerial class.
But
It's not the time to start on it.
yeah. But like in areas like this, it is a purely political sort of vacuum where these blacks are politically trained, then appease to the political system. And after which you get a special minority class like the Syrians, the blacks, and others who become a political movement catalyst, while the native population has to essentially allow that, and they're socialized or essentially brainwashed into accepting this and apologizing, as in this case, and this case, this one specifically.
And you know what? The unfortunate thing is, neither side wins because the minorities and the immigrants and the protected populations they live in like increasingly declining societies, and the native population just becomes more and more discouraged and cynical and kind of disconnected to their ancestral roots and to their values. And
You see,
I
the ironic part is that they usually get these immigrants in as under some of the guise of the fact that we need more people, more population. But in around a few generations, their population reduces to the native population, which has been steadily declining to a flat zero. In other words, our environment is so toxic that even if we hypothetically tried to replace our native population, we wouldn't be able to, because you have such a disgusting and horrible society that we would literally kill off any population that tried to integrate.
they will basically adopt the antinatalist kind of ideas and sentiments, so eventually they too will die out.
Yep.
And really, I think this is also aimed towards people of these groups because we obviously recognize that there's a lot among you that are very normal, that are hardworking, that wish to be integrated and wish to be proper members of society. And you really need to think long and hard about whether or not these governments actually care about you, whether or not they want any benefit for you. Because if they truly cared, they wouldn't try to get your people into social housing and benefits. They could do that, of course, for the people that need it, but the first thing they could try to do is to help you integrate so that you have the most amount of opportunities on your own to basically advance in society. The same thing goes to like black people, which I think is still one of the most oppressed minorities, just not in the way they think. It's not the police that's oppressing them, it's not the universities or the jobs. What's really oppressing them is the court system, which allows mothers to divorce the fathers and get the children and get half the money or even more. It's it's the welfare system that basically encourages single motherhood. It's the promotion of the most vile of rap music and role models. I mean,
Well,
that's the real oppression.
I wouldn't call it much of music. I mean, it's not music; it's just trash.
I
Well, I
mean,
mean, if we consider music as a reflection of the culture, then yeah, it's certainly music. It's terrible, just like the alleged so-called culture. It's not a culture.
it has definitely, especially over the later years, it has kind of declined. I think during like the late 80s, early 90s, it was about kind of promoting certain issues and stuff. There were some black
No,
musicians that were very aware.
it was a psyop. Half of those actually all of them are sponsored by governments. To peddle usually this kind of culture.
Perhaps, but at least they were good musicians. Nowadays, it's
No,
literally the
there's
same.
literally, I think there's literally documents saying how the intelligence agencies promoted this type of music among minorities, just like they promoted abortion centers, which is why I usually see them around minority centers. It's to control their population, make sure they don't get too big.
Yeah, definitely. Again, you guys are free to think of this as um, just I don't know, far right propaganda. You can call it whatever you want, but I could encourage you to go and make your own research, and you'll see that a lot of the stuff that Justinian says might sound insane or exaggerated, but the more time passes, the more I start to believe him. I try to be, more neutral. I try to be more logical, but as I was saying before, just open up the internet and you see it everywhere. Um, it's truly kind of a very um, I would call it like a deadly circle in that, as I say, the natives become more discouraged and the minorities become tools of the establishment. So it's generally getting to a point where I don't know if there truly is any hope or like any clear solution to what we can do about this. I do not know about you, Justinian, if you want to
Well,
kind
I
of.
think there is a solution, but I don't think people will like it. I mean, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of it as well.
Yeah, we should probably not say that because YouTube will
I'm
crucify
joking.
us.
I'm joking around. It's not a solution. There is no solution.
Yeah,
There.
the only thing is maybe as the communists you used to dream at some point, the common people getting together. Because at the end of the day, even I think the minorities and the immigrants and whatever, there's a lot of them nowadays. You can't just leave them aside. I think if we could all unite over certain common
No, you
values,
see that's sort of the point. That's why they have them in the workforce, is that you cannot unite with them. They have different views, they have different cultures. You cannot unite with them. Bottom line, you just can't. You're just too different.
you could be correct. You could be correct. And I would like maybe to kind of close this because again I don't like to spread too much. But recently you were talking to me again about this interesting philosopher, let's say Ted Kaczynski, who I do not fully agree with, like disclaimer, but you talked to
And
me
who
about
I fully agree with.
yes, anarcho-primitivists of YouTube unite under the comments, like this video and promote it for the glory of nature. But
You just hate us because we're right.
so could you maybe talk about the fact that how technology basically has enhanced the police state and there's basically very little
Well,
hope?
yes,
Could
of
you?
course. I'm more than happy to. You see, as
Because
Theodore
sorry for
Kaczynski,
interruption, but we see this like it's not just that these things happen, but both in the case of like the Syrian mother attack and in the Germany with like the cultural enrichment of the young girl, um, both of the times the police acted with immense efficiency and speed to kind of punish the people speaking out against this. We don't know about the white kid that was murdered in America, whether or not the father was kind of coerced or at least pressured to make to make a statement dismissing the racial connotations of this attack. But do continue, please, because yeah, we're seeing an increasing kind of
Yes. Um,
crackdown.
the, the pre-modern state initially did not have a big police state. There was practically no police state, which is when people had much more freedoms, they would not be tracked all day long. In the modern state, as we know it, we have an industrialized police state, which is practically everywhere. Everywhere you go, cameras, especially social media, because people communicate over social media. Government is there, the government watches you. We have a mass industrialized state that knows and hears everything.
Yeah,
In today's
definitely.
world, the future of the world, if we are to further industrialize, if we are to further develop technology, and further, most importantly, rely on it, the the people who one own technology, two have expertise in technology, are going to have control over the people who use them. If that access to be given to corporations, governments, which is pretty much the same thing, okay, there is no real difference between them, then you can rest assured that everything you say, do, and even possibly think will be known. So incidents like this, you will not even hear about them. It's quite likely there's many incidents have not been heard. Keep in mind the oh my, what's the word that I have to use here? The child loving gangs in the United Kingdom, many of the incidents were swept under the rug. And that's back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Right now, in a far more industrialized and a far greater police state, you will not have stories like this. They will be taken down. And in
Hmm.
fact, to even find stories like this, you have
Yeah.
to sometimes search through.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like we had to like I had to type the story several times, many different ways, for it to even come up. Um, many of this stuff is just, as you said, swept under the rug. And I do have to say this to people as well, because I do understand that a lot of you may feel angry, or at least may feel an edge to kind of act on this and everything. But please be smart about it. It's the same thing as in England. I think some boomers started posting memes on Facebook, and then they got
And they
rounded
got
up.
arrested.
This
Yeah,
is why
you're
we
gonna
use
see.
fake names.
You
Like,
go,
you have to be careful with this.
yeah,
Don't dox yourself.
yeah, of course, my real name is Matthew.
Of course,
You
yeah.
know,
So,
I live in Cardiff. You know,
yes,
Longbard Street, house 15.
yeah. So, do not be like Justinian. Do not go to jail over no reason. Be careful.
I was innocent. I was innocent. Okay, the war crimes were never proven.
Listen, you
Anyways,
have to
that's
take
a
care of
different
your
story.
illegitimate sons in the Middle East, but that's also another story.
Yeah, yeah, that's another story about what I did in Serbia in 1993 and about my adventures in the Middle East.
Yes, yes. So it needs to be said that I would say the best thing we can do is talk about those things with people we trust in real life or in private messaging. Do not go on Twitter with like a full on face picture talking about your opinions. That's not
Yes,
advisable. Even if everything is fine, you might get cancelled, you might get whatever. It's not
it's
really worth it.
yeah, but you gotta find you gotta be smart about this. You gotta, and the best I think weapon against this is to just laugh. It's to laugh at the
Honestly, yeah.
people. It's to make fun of them. It's to just laugh in their faces. You see these people outside, make a joke about them. These people try and speak to you, laugh at them. Show the fact that they can't even define what a woman is because they're so closed in their rigid moral structure that they are clowns. Okay, don't go out, don't burn anything, don't hurt anybody. They don't want you to do that. Okay,
Yeah,
just have a
they're
little bit
literally
of a
waiting
laugh.
for an excuse to kind of term you as a far right activist or a bigot or whatever. Do not give them that excuse so easily.
Yeah,
S-
otherwise you're gonna end up in prison with Muhammad and Ali, who you're gonna be fighting over whose girlfriend you're gonna be.
Not a good future, you know. Not very
Yeah,
halal.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I think
Okay,
that's
so
everything. I think we've
yeah.
given our closing thoughts.
Thank you so
Please,
much for watching.
please stay safe out there, guys. And I do know
Fight
things
for
are bad.
Ukraine, fight for Palestine, fight for Israel. We support every cause. We support feminists. We support homosexuals. We
Everyone.
support the LGBTQ community. Yeah, we support absolutely everybody. We make no moral judgments. Please don't arrest us. Thank you very much and goodbye.
And always remember that things may seem difficult, but not be terminally online. Please go out in nature, have walks, think about those things, but do not be absorbed into this madness. That's all. Signing off.